In this video, I'm gonna be creating a massive crater habitat for the T-Rex, so stick around. Hey guys, it's Zekin. So I recently conducted a poll asking you guys for what you want to see next for any couple Prehistoric Kingdom videos, and you had to choose between a Biodome Park series or you just want to see more exhibit enclosure for each of the dinosaurs. And a couple hours ago, when I actually started building the what I have today, the exhibit was in the lead, but as of the time of this recording, when I just checked, the Biodome series just passed it. But I mean, I've already got this already done, so I just might as well just put it out there. Probably in the next few videos, I'm gonna be starting work on a possible Biodome Park series. So just be on the lookout for that. For this exhibit, I wanted to kind of go the extra mile in terms of testing the game's mechanics. So I really want to test out how good the terrain sculpting features are in the game so far. And boy oh boy, they are really in-depth and good. But although there are some factors that are a bit limiting, for example, the terrain painting feature, I feel like some of the paints are a bit stronger than others, and also as well, some of the brush tools, I can't remember which one exactly, is just a bit too overpowering over the others, and just other random things that I'm sure will be probably fixed when the beta comes out. So I've always wanted to do something really wide scale and large. So I just decided, why don't I make a giant crater in the ground and just put some dinos in it? And the perfect dino for this would be, of course, the T-Rex, because it's always portrayed as a really big and powerful, big, strong animal. So I just decided I'm gonna build a T-Rex into this. And it's kind of ironic because it's widely believed that a big meteorite collided with Earth and just wiped out the entire dinosaur population, and meteorites form craters in the ground when they impact anywhere. So yeah, but for this one, actually, it's pretty much based off of a real-life crater, and it's not like a meteorite crater, it's a volcanic crater that forms as a result of a volcano collapsing onto itself when it's at the end of its lifetime. So back to what we're doing. As you can see, I've pretty much laid down the entire perimeter of the crater, and as well as put a water moat around the little island we have in the center for the T-Rexes. So the erode terrain brush is pretty interesting, in which it kind of simulates the effects that water has on landforms in kind of eroding and giving that effect of erosion on the sides, which kind of give this sharp and washed out look to the terrain. So as you just saw me shortly, I used the brush to kind of sharpen out the tips of the outskirts of the crater, so it kind of has this mountain peak kind of look to it. And the erosion tool really creates that triangular signature mountain look at the tops of it. So that was pretty fun to see. But however, I did try to use them for the little ridges in the center. But from what I can tell so far, this tool requires you to have a big of a difference, so we can have the space to kind of sculpt it in a way. But for little differences, it just kind of flattens them out. So unless you have something really big or tall, it will just flatten the whole terrain out. So I've started to use the terrain painting tool to kind of literally put the icing on the cake, and like I said earlier in the video, it is a little tough to work with in the sense that it's a little too sensitive. So even on when you dial down the intensity of the brush, it still kind of has this really overpowering effect that makes it feel like the intensity slider doesn't do much than just to kind of delay the time it takes for the paint to show up on the ground. So yeah, this is alpha. Hopefully in the beta or maybe early access, we get some fixes for that. And talking about fixes and updates, we recently got a new update for the game, and it basically fixed a lot of performance issues and different kind of bugs. And for me at least, it really slowed down the time it took for me to make it past the loading screen, because before it used to take from maybe at least 2 or 3 minutes to get it past the loading screen, but now it's just 30 seconds and it's all there. So props to the devs for that. And they also putting a new chain link piece, and so this is gonna be a very versatile piece, especially if you want to kind of create your own custom aviaries. As well as that, I don't know if some of you may have noticed some time ago that there were some hidden trees and hidden foliage in the game that were probably from like earlier builds, and they got removed with this update. So I mean, a lot of people really loved those, but I get it because they were like really low quality and they didn't really feel part like the rest of the other foliage. They just didn't have the same level of detail. I think they've mentioned previously that the amount of foliage we got with the early access is only like 30% of what we're actually gonna get when the game finally fully releases. So it's gonna be exciting to see what the rest of the 70% of the foliage looks like. And that's really mind-blowing because so far, I actually consider the amount of foliage we have in game to be a lot. So if we're getting like way more than that's really awesome. So right now I'm starting to like just place down and scatter around some rocks around the crater and also in the water, so it looks like some volcanic like activity has been going on here for like the past few years. So yeah, ever since the last update, I have a new problem. So I don't know if anyone else has experienced this, but every time it goes into like autosave, if I click anything while it's autosaving, it would just freeze and crash. So that was what I had to like endure throughout the building process of this whole thing, because sometimes I would actually be building and then when I'm clicking and it would just autosave and then it would just crash. But actually, luckily, before it crashes, it manages somehow to save whatever it had before the crash. So it's more of a annoying thing than it's really game breaking per se. Obviously, the devs are going to be releasing more patches as we go on further, as more problems arise. So yeah. Now I'm starting to use the foliage painting tool to paint foliage all around the crater, so it kind of looks like nature has taken over the past couple years. So my idea for this whole thing was not to have any guests walk up into it, and I wanted it to feel more like a remote, serene area where the dinosaurs are kind of essentially blocked away from the outside world, and there's kind of sort of like a remote scientist lab nearby where they're studying the T-Rexes, kind of like a remote research center where really crazy stuff goes down in there. I know the island might be a bit too small for the T-Rex, but that's kind of what I was going for. So, you know, in all these movies where they have like, they put dinosaurs in like the really small enclosures and they get smarter and they might escape. Well, I mean, you gotta have a bit of a risk sometimes, right? One thing I'd like to see in the game is like some sort of kind of first-person camera mode in which you can walk through this, like the park from the perspective of a guest. And I know there were talks about having some you can be able to ride some rovers around your park, which really sounds cool, and some having to be able to interact with some of the stuff, but I'm not so sure about that though. Can't wait to see the little baby dinosaurs roam around in the little habitat and also try to like grow up and transition into a full-grown adult. So it would also be interesting to see how they also implement maybe dinosaurs giving birth and stuff like that, but I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see. I really hope we get stuff like that, because that would really take the gameplay to a whole new level. So now you can see me finishing up the foliage around the little island. I really wanted it to feel as naturalistic as possible, so the T-Rex kind of fits in quite nicely in it. We're now nearing the end of the time lapse and we'll be moving on next to some final shots and cinematics. If you're still watching at this point in the video, I just want to say thank you so much. You are just special and amazing, and hope you enjoyed the whole process of building from start to finish as much as I did. So be sure to leave a like on the video, and if you're not subscribed already, be sure to do that, as well as turning on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post any new future content. And I'll leave a link below to my socials so you can go check it out. See you later guys, and until then, bye for now.